Hello everybody, my name is Evelyn Salas Alfaro. I'm 29 years old and I'm from Peru. Right now I'm living in Stockholm, Sweden, and I came here to this country 2 years ago to study my master's degree in sustainability science at Lund University. Um, well, I already finished that, and as a result of those years, I did this thesis that I'm really glad to present to all of you. And the name is Let's Save the Lomas, exploring the opportunities and barriers for the collective action at Lomas de Pamplona in Lima, Peru. Um, Urban population is growing everywhere, especially in developing countries in which urban growth generates more drastic changes. In Lima, the capital city of Peru, the housing capacity is 1 million people for a city of 10 million inhabitants. As a consequence, the urban sprawl continues in areas non-appropriated for residential purposes. As some scholars mention, a transformation from rural to urban areas creates changes in the social and ecological landscape, with one of poverty, informality, and gradually enclosing and reducing natural ecosystems with private lands from cities. This is exactly what happened to coastal lomas, a unique natural ecosystem only located in the coast of Peru and Chile. The urbanization process has contributed to the loss of 400,000 hectares of this ecosystem in the last 60 years, from which 10 to 30% is located in Lima. Coastal lomas are one of the last natural ecosystems inside a city with multiple environmental problems, such as air pollution and many others. Governance plays a vital role to overcome these challenges. In that way, Lomas collectives have emerged to protect Lomas in their districts due to the lack of local and regional municipalities' proper management. This thesis focuses on the Lomas de Pamplona collective, a group of young activists from the San Juan de Miraflores district that is located in Lima. No? This thesis aims to increase the knowledge and understanding about the repercussions on natural ecosystems from collective management in urban areas. Moreover, explore what need to be overcome by Lomas de Pamplona collective to accomplish the ecosystem's sustainable management. And in that way, we can reimagine and reshape the city from the participation of the citizens. With that purpose, this thesis seeks to answer the following questions. First, how the Lomas de Pamplona collective governs the Lomas ecosystem in San Juan de Miraflores? What are the social and ecological outcomes in Lomas de Pamplona? What factors can lead to the positive and negative outcomes in Lomas de Pamplona? And finally, how can the negative outcomes in Lomas de Pamplona be addressed from a social ecological system perspective? So first of all, let's talk about a little bit about the urbanization in Lima. And I think that is also the reflection of many other cities in Latin America. But right now, the current urban structure in Lima is composed by the centric districts of medium and high social class, the north, east, and south peripheries that are in constant development, lacking urban planning. These peripheries are part of Lima due to an urbanization process in form of slums. Currently, most flatlands in Lima are fully covered, leaving only hills with abrupt steeps. Likewise, land trafficking has emerged. This is considered 40% of the overall delinquency in the country related to other felonies such as hired assassins and extortions. Just to give a little bit of context, land trafficking is trying to locate your settlements in a land that is not your own, but and also with those lands, like try to sell those lands to other people, so you can kind of create an illegal market for lands. No? So that is what is land trafficking in this case. So you can really understand what is such a big deal and what is considered a delinquency act. No? Regarding the management, The lomas are considered open spaces managed by the government. The Ministry of Environment and the Agency of Protected Natural Areas are the governmental institutions involved in the management of the coastal lomas. The Metropolitan Lima Municipality, along with district municipalities, are the main authorities responsible for the environmental management of the lomas in their jurisdiction. So let's get into the lomas. Where is located Lomas de Pamplona? As you can see in the maps here, San Juan de Miraflores is located at the beginning of the south periphery of Lima. Lomas de Pamplona is located in the highest part of this district. Here I'm going to point to you. Yeah, in this part. This Lomas de Pamplona is located in the highest part of San Juan de Miraflores, in the sector known as Nueva Rinconada. This ecosystem is enclosed by Surco, this other district here, La Molina here, and Villa María del Triunfo. Then you can see also how it looks in each, like the limits with each of these districts. Moreover, a slum that is not legally recognized by any district called Valle Escondido, that you can see over here, like it's in the right in the top of the ecosystem. So as you can see on the right maps, the extension of Lomas de Pamplona has decreased from the inaction of regional and local authorities. Thus, Lomas de Pamplona Collective was created in 2018 using ecotourism as an environmental awareness tool. I also want to point to say something really interesting about this location where is located Lomas de Pamplona, because as you can see here in Surco and La Molina, there is two walls dividing these districts from San Juan de Miraflores, and these walls are the representation of how people from these more wealthy districts, wealthier districts, wants to divide themselves from the poor settlements that are located in San Juan de Miraflores, and especially from Pamplona, that is the sector where Lomas de Pamplona is located. So there is a social conflict because of that, and and I really wanted to say that because that is why Pamplona is known, because this wall of shame, that as people call it, that is located in Surco, but there is a loma in between them, an ecosystem that is suffering from this urban sprawl and also from all these conflicts. So that's also information that is really important, to know that what is happening in the area also, and what is also having impacts on the ecosystem. Well, right now let's talk about theory. I'm using two theories and a framework. First of all, I'm using tragedy of the commons, and maybe you have heard this before, but in this case the tragedy of the commons is kind of different for cities or urban areas. So when a natural ecosystem becomes part of cities, local governments add regulations over the land use due to its ownership over ecosystems. However, when local governments lose control over public goods, the tragedy of the commons happens in cities. This means that a competition in uses and overuse can lead to the degradation of urban resources that represents Harding's tale. Regarding urban commons, this theory has been developed from common pool resources research from Ostrom. However, the collectivity in rural areas are totally different than in urban ones. The large population in cities, combined with the lack of space that trigger density and proximity, represents the nature of cities and the type of collectivity it produces. Through this kind of collectivity, urban commons arise. Citizens are required to reappropriate public goods through political actions such as negotiate with the government to be a commons. Likewise, the government has a supportive role in urban commons due to the scale and complexity of the resource and the diversity of users. This means that the local governments are also really good allies with civil society to really work for these commons, not to create these commons. And finally, we have the social ecological system framework. No, as you um, as you can read here, all the resources used by humans are immersed in complex SES composed of various subsystems and variables. So in that way, when we have these kind of complex systems, we require like a common framework to have to put together all these disciplines to really understand or trying to make some effort to understand these complex systems. No? And here you can see like how is this diagram show you really how this framework works. No, you have the resource system, the resource units, the governance systems, actors, and the central, like the focal action situation that are interactions and outcomes. All these five, as the framework call it, first tiers or first level variables have also inside of them other variables. So in that way you can understand these complex systems. No? I think that because I use this framework to diagnose this collective, you're gonna see it in more detail in some other slides that I'm gonna show you. No? About the methodology, my case study is based on qualitative data. I focus on the portion of Lomas de Pamplona on San Juan de Miraflores district with an special emphasis of Lomas de Pamplona collective. I'm saying that because Lomas de Pamplona is not only, as well, I show you the map now, but Lomas de Pamplona is not only part of San Juan de Miraflores, but also part of Surco. So, but right now, only in this study, I'm focusing on San Juan de Miraflores district, not the site of the part of Lomas de Pamplona in San Juan de Miraflores. The data collected was from interviews and literature to complete the SES framework. From that data, some variables were left out of the analysis because I couldn't find the information needed for that one, and other reasons also. And my biggest limitation that I could not was that I could not do fieldwork, and I was not able to contact some relevant actors, and mainly because of this coronavirus situation that we're living right now. But let's go immediately to the results. As you can see here, this is the first variable that I'm going to show you. That is the social, economic, and political settings. San Juan de Miraflores maintains a constant population growth with expansion of current slums and land trafficking supported by locals. Peru has high levels of corruption and political instability that trigger the dissatisfaction from the population. In addition, there is no integration among sectors to provide a common legal framework for the coastal lomas management. Currently, 9 laws provide direct and indirect protection to Lomas de Pamplona. However, the big problem is that the housing sector promotes institutions and laws that incentivize this form of urbanization, and also an inconsistent implementation and policy direction that depends on each government authority interest influence the compliance of inhabitants to environmental policies. And just to explain a little bit more in detail about this point, I want to read to you one of the comments of the interviewees. That was this one that you can see now. After Susana Villaran, that she was the mayor of Lima, Metropolitan Lima's municipality between 2011 and 2014. Yeah, after her, Castañeda's period, Castañeda was a mayor from 2015 and 2019, so after her, he was not interested in the protection of coastal lomas. And shut down projects and programs related to it. Instead, the Congress and the Environmental Ministry were paying attention to this problem. So in that phrase, you can see like there is a lot like this, like to handle these issues and to have some solutions about it. It depends a lot on the interest of the current major of the of the region, no, or of the government. So just this is a reflection of what this last sentence that I told you about the house, about the inconsistent implementation and policy direction that really depends on each governmental authority interest, and in consequence that influence the compliance of inhabitants to environmental policies. And finally, the demand from Lima inhabitants for tourism in the capital is increasing. This is important also because then you're going to see like the whole analysis, no? Then we have the resource system. The limits of Lomas de Pamplona are established by the urban sprawl in the area. It is a small ecosystem of almost 38 hectares with a lot of urban intervention. I said that it's small because in contrast with other lomas, this is one of the smallest one, no? in Lima, at least. Nueva Rinconada slums, part of San Juan de Miraflores, are located within what used to be part of Lomas de Pamplona. This is because there was no control of the urban sprawl in that area. The dense fog during winter activates most of the flora species from their sleeping period during summer and causes a strong seasonality with a visual contrast from the desert landscape into a green ecosystem. And that you can see here in this picture, this strong seasonality that I'm talking about. This is, for example, you can see here, this is during summer, it's almost look like a desert, but this photo is from winter, and it's this beautiful green space. So you can see really a strong contrast in these two different seasons, no? And Lomas de Pamplona is really sensible and depends on flora population. Yeah, and all this flora that Lomas de Pamplona has is really, how you say, like their roots are really superficial, so it's really vulnerable. Like for example, if somebody's walking through this flora, there is a high possibility that all these plants are gonna die, no? So it's important to have all the how you say, it's important to be really careful about all this flora in the area. Otherwise, actually that is the result that we are seeing right now, that this ecosystem is reducing and reducing even more every year. So yeah, so the flora is really important for this to be conserved. Then we're moving to actors. The slums of Nueva Rinconada, Valle Escondido slum, illegal land dealers, and the collective are the users of Lomas de Pamplona. These slums suffer from a poor economic situation and high levels of vulnerability. However, Lomas de Pamplona's ecosystem services contributes to their livelihoods. One of the unsuccessful attempts of protection of Lomas de Pamplona has been made from Flor de Mancaes slum, that is part of Nueva Rinconada. This slum has leadership toward the protection of Lomas de Pamplona, along with the collective, but their motivation are different. Most inhabitants in Nueva Rinconada have lost their connection with nature. Yeah, I say this because a lot of people that is living in Nueva Rinconada, they are coming from other regions of Peru, and they're coming like from these big migration waves that happens in different years. So in other regions there is more connection with nature, no? And in the city this is maybe in that process that connection has been lost, no? Moreover, slums in Nueva Rinconada have a heritage of collaboration. When they have a common interest, they work together. Concerning the collective social capital, the members are part of environmental and district organizations, including one member that is part of the current San Juan de Miraflores government. The members don't live in Nueva Rinconada, but in other zones of the district. From the ecotourism, 1,500 visitors are considered other actors. And now it's the moment that we're going to answer the first research question, how the Lomas de Pamplona collective governs the Lomas ecosystem in San Juan de Miraflores, through analyzing the governance variable, no? That is composed of all these variables that you can see here. The answer to this question is that Lomas de Pamplona has received small support from the Lima municipality. In particular, San Juan de Miraflores' current government has intervened in the protection of Lomas de Pamplona. However, their capacity is low due to a reduced budget. The collective have managed to include Lomas de Pamplona in the existing environmental and media network. On the other hand, the collective's lack of organizational structure, limited time from some members, and not being legally constituted decrease their capacity. The media network attracts the attention of inhabitants and authorities about the existence and the situation of the ecosystem. Likewise, the only committee from Nueva Rinconada that is connected to Lomas de Pamplona protection is just Flor de Mancaes land. The majority of this land is owned by the government. Therefore, the collective, along with Flor de Mancaes land, only have the power to notify illegal activities to the municipality and the police. Then let's move on with the interactions. The communication of actions is almost non-existent from conflicts and weak social network. The network structure, mainly the media network, along with increasing demand for tourism in Lima, have fostered knowledge about Lomas de Pamplona at district and regional scale. Moving to the deliberation processes, multiple variables prevent most lands from becoming part of the social network that obstruct an integrated deliberation process. Internally, Flor de Mancaes committee has not been included in the deliberation process. Then moving on with the conflicts, this is really an important variable here, because there is multiple variables from the social and economic and political setting promote the urban sprawl. These interests collapse with the protection of this ecosystem, causing conflicts. These also appear in the form of threat from illegal land dealers to Flor de Mancaes land, or also to the collective. Regarding the investment activities, there is a lack of investment for conservation in Lomas de Pamplona. Also, the ecotourism activities has brought an economic development alternative to Flor de Mancaes land. In loving capacity activities, the media network and the capacity of the collective create pressure on the San Juan de Miraflores municipality to act in the preservation of Lomas de Pamplona. Likewise, having a member of the collective working in the municipality creates an internal pressure. So for the self-organizing activities, the presence of conflicts in the area combined with weak operational rules and the lack of formality from the collective produces a lack of internal rules for the management of Lomas de Pamplona among direct users. However, the collective is the only distrital group protecting Lomas de Pamplona. They are considered an ally to the San Juan de Miraflores municipality due to all these loving activities promoted by it. However, since the reception of visitors or tourists in Lomas de Pamplona, the collective has not researched the carrying capacity of the ecosystem. And finally, Flor de Mancaes land is the one who can monitor any attempt of encroachment or land trafficking in Lomas de Pamplona. So, having all these variables that I already told you before from all these first year's variables from the SES framework, we can answer the two other following questions. what are the social and ecological outcomes in Lomas de Pamplona, and what factors can lead to the positive and negative outcomes in Lomas de Pamplona. First, with the social outcomes, we have more knowledge about Lomas de Pamplona, empowerment of Flor de Mancaes slum, a strong connection with San Juan de Miraflores municipality, but there is a delay on the activation of the ordinance that add one more layer of protection to Lomas de Pamplona. And finally, a lack of local population involvement in the collective action. Here you can see all the variables that influence the result of these points that I already mentioned, that comes from the SES framework. Then we have the ecological outcomes. No? Lomas de Pamplona's environmental condition has minimally improved. However, the land trafficking and encroachments in Lomas de Pamplona has been paused mainly due to the networking with the government and the monitoring activities with Flor de Mancaes slum. Finally, the ecotourism creates more ecological pressures to Lomas de Pamplona due to a lack of evaluation activities from the collective. So we already finished with all the variables from the SES framework and already answered the three first questions, and now we can answer the last one. How can the negative outcomes in Lomas de Pamplona be addressed from a social ecological systems perspective? So in this, for answering these questions, I use the urban common theory. So according to this theory, San Juan de Miraflores municipality needs to be more supportive to integrate other slums into the collective action promoted by the Lomas de Pamplona collective. At the same time, social capital, knowledge of Lomas de Pamplona, and acknowledgement of the importance of Lomas de Pamplona in slums livelihood are essential to develop a stronger social network that could decrease the conflicts in the area. Nevertheless, this theory sets limitations in explaining political conflicts and institutional constraints, as well as the existence of challenges that are more in the realm of national government institutions and exceed municipalities' functions. So in conclusion, although urban commons theory has provided ways to address Lomas de Pamplona management, more research are required to determine the governance of coastal lomas at a national level, including the interaction within the Lomas of Peru network, that is this network that is composed by a lot of the Lomas collective that are in Peru, mainly in Lima. And its level, and also it's required to have research on maybe the level of representativeness of this network that I talked to you about. In that way, it would be possible to propose solutions for a more sustainable management of this unique ecosystem. Also, I want to let you know how in which way you can help to this aim. First of all, I want to mention that you can, if you have any suggestions and you want to help directly to this collective, they have a Facebook page that I'm showing you right now. Is Lomas de Pamplona on Facebook. So you just can send them a message or just follow them. They are always posting the latest news about the situation of Lomas de Pamplona and also about other lomas. But this is a collective that is really working really hard right now to preserve this area because, as I told you, it has been reduced a lot because of these land traffickings and urban sprawl that is happening until now, and they are still fighting about that. So you can send them a message, follow them on Facebook. And also, like, if you're interested to make more research about it, they are always open to more research in the area and more help as if you can give it to them. No? On the other hand, I think that it's really important to because most of I think everybody wants to that probably everybody that is here wants to provide some help. And a good way to do it is to be involved in our own cities and try to do something about it. Because right now, if we want sustainable cities, the role of civil society is fundamental. Uh, just to, like, for example, like this collective there, they just wanted to do what they could to preserve this area and have a natural ecosystem in their district, no? In that way it also contributes to having a better quality of life, environmentally talking also, and socially. So yeah, it's important for us to like be really involved in what is happening in our cities or where we're living, no, and trying to fight for it and trying to do as much as we can do. And what I learned from this, for example, this urban common theory, is that we also can make something together, no, with the government or with other actors, maybe NGOs. But we can do something, definitely. That's the most important thing, and that we have to understand and believe, no? I think that also doing this kind of research helps in a way to have more information. For example, in this area, this research is the first one that is talking about this more into more and in a more systematic way, no, like trying to look not only the ecosystem but also the social aspect of it, because everything is, all the systems are complexes, and we have to see the subsystems that are included on them. So also if you're in the academy, it's really nice, and it's fundamental, the work that people from the academy is doing. So let's keep fighting from that corner too, no? And yes, so finally, I just want to say thank you for listening to me, and I hope that this presentation served you in some way. If you have any questions, just let me know. Bye.